Let's talk about insulation, energy efficiency, getting the most bang for your buck, and of course, watch some satisfying foam expanding clips. I mean, that's like all of my favorite things, right? Energy efficiency, saving money, and satisfying videos. But before we get to the fun stuff, let's back up a little bit. We've been overhauling our kitchen for the better part of a year. One of the biggest transformations of our still in progress kitchen renovation is the addition of new French doors. Previously, we barely had any views to the backyard thanks to a big wall in the middle of the room. We removed that wall and the cabinets and, well, everything else. When the space was down to the studs, it was a good reminder of just how simple our homes are. They're made up of wooden studs and siding, and that's about it. It's crazy to think that that's all that's separating us from the elements. Cutting a giant hole for the door felt so vulnerable, but so gratifying. A chunk of our house was removed and doors were put in its place. We weatherproofed the exterior to prevent rain intrusion. We got specialty insulated glass to cut down on heat loss and heat gain transfer. And we put insulation in the walls. But there's still that gap around the doors. It may seem insignificant, but these tiny, or in my case, not so tiny gaps, can let so much air in and out. And nobody wants that in the heat of summer or in the cold of winter. Like, would you leave your windows ajar when it's snowing? I don't think so. Now, I live in sunny San Diego where the weather is pretty mild throughout the year. I don't even know the first thing about dealing with snowy weather, but I do know that when folks are heating their houses in the winter, they want to keep that hot air in and the cold air out. In San Diego, we're concerned with just the opposite in the summertime. Heat loss, or in my case, heat gain, concerns me as an environmentalist. So much energy is used to climate control the inside of our homes. The last thing we want to do is send that air-conditioned air outside while simultaneously letting in hot air. It's a waste of energy and a waste of money. More so, the use of air conditioning and heating emits greenhouse gases, which add to our climate crisis. So at our house, we try to avoid using air conditioning as much as we can. And the way we do that is with passive cooling. We use the shade of trees to cool the house, curtains to keep out the sun, and insulation to avoid drafts. Our home is 105 years old and we love her for it, but old houses can get a bit of a bad rap. They're accused of being drafty, leaky, and poorly insulated. Many suggest replacing old wood windows with new vinyl ones as a way of reducing energy use. But I feel like insulating your old windows will be far more efficient than replacing them with new ones, especially when you consider that you aren't sending those old windows to a landfill and you aren't producing brand new plastic windows that'll inevitably need to be sent to the landfill in like 10 years. I digress, but all this to say I love insulation. Insulation around windows, behind electrical, along the foundation, in the attic, insulation everywhere. I'm going to show you how a can of Great Stuff Smart Dispenser can help lower your heating and cooling bills for years to come. Let's do it. First, let's suit up. Do I look cool like Bill Nye? Great Stuff has a wide product offering and includes foam sealants for a variety of purposes. All of them work the same. You spray a bit of foam where needed, it expands to seal the gap, and then you cut back any excess. I'll show you all of that in a second. I know you're on the edge of your seat waiting for some satisfying foam content. First, I'll show you a few different Great Stuff foams and what they're each used for. Gaps and Cracks insulating foam is a go-to sealant for all sorts of gaps and cracks. And the beauty of the Great Stuff Smart Dispenser is the can of foam can be reused within 30 days. Fireblock insulates and seals penetrations, providing an airtight barrier that impedes the spread of smoke and flames. I use this throughout my kitchen renovation around all of the holes drilled for electrical and plumbing. Big Gap Filler is for, you guessed it, big gaps. I selected the Great Stuff Smart Dispenser window and door foam. Why? Because I'm insulating a door, silly. It's important to use this foam for doors and windows because it doesn't expand with as much pressure as the other foam products. You don't want the foam to expand so much that it moves the jamb or prevents the door or window from operating by bowing. Ready to see some satisfying foam content? satisfying, right? All right, I think I'm ready to insulate this door. I've gotten some good practice using the foam, so I'm gonna get straight to the door. Do practice it a bit yourself before jumping in though. First, I'm gonna put down some paper to protect my beautiful new hardwood floors. Next, I'll thread the smart dispenser onto the valve, making sure that there's no gap between the two. Then I'll line the straw up where I want it, using a second hand for more control if needed. And then I'll gently let up on the trigger and slowly release pressure and drag it along the gap. It can get messy, so controlling it for a consistent bead is key to avoid the foam getting everywhere. It will expand, so we don't want to overfill it, but do be sure to put enough in there. Avoid touching it before it cures, because you'll just make a mess. It's tempting to wipe away the excess, but it's better to wait until cured. If you do disturb the foam while it's tacky, you can clean it up with some foam cleaner or acetone. Then, once I have the hang of it, I'll just go to town filling all the gaps around the door. And there we have it. The door is fully insulated in the glass, the walls, and now the gaps. The can of foam in a few minutes of time will make for a much more energy efficient and much more comfortable living space. Now all I need is trim, a little bit of paint, and we'll be all done. Now I hardly even use that much of the foam, but the beauty of the Great Stuff Smart Dispenser is you can reuse the product again within a month. Just store it away, and then when ready to use, remove any cured foam from the tip, pull the trigger, and dispense more foam. It's perfect for people that do renovations slowly, you know, like me.